We give you the facts, it's not what you think. Popeye Newsling, Young King, 1 yard, bless.
Good morning, Popeye. Grandma watch Popeyes every morning and every night.
What am I think? What am I think? You're listening to Popeye News Links. This is the Admiral Tibet who I represent, and remember, the time is so serious, cantankerous and dangerous. This is Popeye News Links.
Yeah, watch Popeyes, mama. How you watch?
Popeye.
Greetings viewers and subscribers. In the news today, this one is called Family Mayhem. It took place yesterday afternoon, Friday, December 20, about 5 o'clock. It took place at Mafuta district in the Anchovy police area in the parish of St. James. Our information is that for a while now, two sisters, they have been at war. One is Shaneil. She's said to be in her late 20s and she is a poultry farmer. The other sister is Alletia. She's said to be in her mid-20s and she is a bar owner. They are both living in the Mafuta area. The allegation is that yesterday afternoon, the older sister Shaneil, she was walking along the road when her sister Alletia drove up in a white BMW motor car. Alletia's 12-year-old son Jamal, he was also in the car. It is alleged that Alletia, she drove up and she stopped the car beside her sister Shaneil. Alletia and her son, they got out of the car. The 12-year-old Jamal, he was armed with a machete which he used to chop Shaneil on her right hand. Shaneil, she ran off and her sister Alletia, who was also armed with a knife, chased her, caught up with her and used the knife to inflict a wound to her left hand. Both attackers, they then boarded the BMW motor car, then left. Moments later, we are told that Shaneil, who was injured, she was being assisted by residents when a guy named Yena, he drove up in the same white BMW motor car. We are getting unconfirmed reports that Yena is Alletia's spouse. It is alleged that Yena, he drove up in the BMW motor car and stopped beside Shaneil. He then pulled a gun and fired about 5 shots at Shaneil, hitting her to her right thigh. He then sped away in the BMW motor car. Shaneil, she was assisted to hospital where she was treated and admitted in a serious condition. The police, they were notified, and when they processed this crime scene, 4 9mm spent shells were recovered from the scene. The mayhem. In this next report, exactly 1 week ago, early last week, Saturday morning, December 14, about minutes to 5 o'clock, 5 male prisoners escaped from the Barnett Street police station lockup. Of the 5 that escaped, 2 of them are still at large. That one on your screen, his name is Edgar Spence and he was 42 years old. Edgar, he was living at Flower Hill in the parish of St. James. He was facing gun-related charges. About minutes to 12 midday, that same Saturday morning after Edgar and the 4 other hoodlums escaped, Edgar and other hoodlums, they engaged the police in a shootout at Flower Hill and he was shot and killed. 2 firearms were seized in that shootout. That guy on your screen, he was also one of the escapees. His name is Fidel Anthony Ferguson. Fidel is 36 years old and he's from Friendship in the Wakefield police area in the parish of Trelawney. Fidel, he also has an address at Mountain View in the Greenwood area of St. James. On Monday night, July 17, last year about 9 o'clock, a businessman living at Bogue Village in Montego Bay in St. James, he securely locked up and parked his 2015 Toyota Axio motor car. The next morning, he made checks and he realized that the car was stolen. Now, there was a tracking device on the car and it was immediately tracked to the Greenwood area of St. James. As a result, the car owner, he went to the police. The police, they assisted the car owner to the Greenwood area and approaching a house. A well-known car thief named Blacks, he was seen coming from a nearby building and seeing the police vehicle. Blacks, he ran off into some nearby bushes, making good his escape. 2 other hoodlums were held by the police in the same building. The police, they recovered the grey Toyota Axio, and not only that, they also recovered 2 white Nissan Tiida motor cars, which were also stolen. The police, they also seized a whole heap of car parts and accessories from the building. The 2 hoodlums who were held, they were taken into police custody. There were 1, Steadroy Samuel Harrison, but he's popularly known as Kenroy. He is now 43 years old and he's living at West Park Avenue in Maypen in the parish of Clarendon. The other one was that hoodlum on your screen, Fidel Anthony Ferguson. So, since July 18 last year, Fidel, he has been in police custody and he escaped last week Saturday morning. Early Sunday morning, December 15, about minutes after 7 o'clock. Fidel, he went to a security officer at the Edmond Ridge housing scheme in the Carroll Gardens area of St. James and he told the security officer to call the police. The security officer, he did that and the police, they went to the scheme. On arrival, they saw Fidel, who showed them a gunshot wound to his right thigh. He told the police that he was shot earlier at a bike shop in the Paisley area of St. James. It was later found out that a lie Fidel a tell. Remember I told you about the shooting incident at Flower Hill where Edgar, he was shot and killed and other hoodlums escaped? Our information is that Fidel, he was one of the hoodlums who escaped. So he was taken to hospital and then into police custody. The third hoodlum I'm going to be telling you about is that hoodlum on your screen. His name is Tyrese Brown, but he was popularly known as TJ or Sheetsman. He was born on September 9, 2002, 22 years old, and he lived at Stettin District in the Ulster Spring Police area in the parish of Trelawney. Like I told you before, Sheetsman, he might give trouble from him eye the him knee. Sheetsman, he grew up in the juvenile system, even though he has been given trouble from before that. In August 2017, when Sheetsman was almost 15 years old, he was charged for malicious destruction of property. This is after he smashed out the windscreen of a 2010 Honda motor car owned by a police officer, and we are told that this police officer, he oftentimes deal with reports made against Sheetsman. Sheetsman, he saw the policeman's car parked in the night and he smashed out the windscreen. He was taken to court and sentenced. In early 2019, when Sheetsman was 16 years old, he was in police custody at the Stewarttown police station. We are told that he told the police officer on duty that he wanted to use the toilet. While he was taken out of the holding area at the police station and being taken to use the toilet, he pushed down the police officer and made good his escape from the station. Later that same year, November 2019, Sheetsman and a guy, they were involved in a fight along the Stettin main road. Sheetsman, he rushed for a machete, but an off-duty police officer who lived nearby, he saw what was happening and he intervened. When the policeman intervened, we are told that Sheetsman, he slapped the policeman in his face and he attacked him with the machete. As a result, Sheetsman, he was shot by the policeman. He was taken to the Spalding Hospital where he was treated and admitted. He was eventually charged and given bail, but Sheetsman, he never returned to court and a bench warrant was issued for his arrest. In April 2020, Sheetsman, he seriously wounded a 59-year-old man. In May 2020, he seriously wounded an 18-year-old female student at Stettin District. In November 2020, he assaulted a 45-year-old man named Gooley at Freeman's Hall in Trelawney. Sheetsman, he was eventually held and charged by the police, but very soon he was back on the road again because his victims fear him and they did not attend court. Sheetsman, he also committed a lot of break-ins and rapes in the area, but it is said that some of his victims, because of fear, they don't report it, or when they do, they tell the police that they don't know who their attacker is. But on the early morning of Sunday, August 8th, last year, about 1:30, Sheetsman and his two cronies on your screen. The one in the middle is Jabean Brock, but he's popularly known as Nuggie or OJ. He's now 20 years old and he's living at Penn Road in the Stettin District area. The one to your right, his name is Timoy Brown, but he's popularly known as Big Red. Big Red is 23 years old and he's living in the Alside District area, all in the parish of Trelawney. On that fateful morning, Sunday, August 8th, last year, all three of them, they went to a house at Cotton Tree Lane in the Queensland area of Trelawney where they broke into the house. In the end, the Jankros, they took turn in brutally sexually assaulting that princess on your screen. Her name is Jamelia Cole and she was 15 years old at the time. They also beat her in her head and left her in a yam grung to die. Jamelia, she died in the Kingston Public Hospital that same night. We are learning that after that gruesome incident, Sheetsman, he went and he was hiding out in Old Harbour in the parish of St. Catherine. Whilst in Old Harbour, he continued with his hoodlum activities. On the early morning of Tuesday, August 6, earlier this year, about 3 o'clock, Sheetsman and two other hoodlums, all armed with guns, they went to Content District in the Discovery Bay area of St. Ann. A guy in his mid-20s, he was at his home with a female when Sheetsman and two of his cronies, they shouted police and instructed the guy to open the door. The guy was reluctant in opening the door and the hoodlums, they kicked off the door. They entered the house and they demanded the keys for his 2013 Toyota Mark X motor car that was parked in the yard. The guy, in fear of his life, he gave them the car keys. The hoodlums, they then drove away with the car, making good their escape. Later that same day, the Trelawney police, they received intelligence and they intercepted the car. Sheetsman and his cronies, they managed to jump out of the car, making good their escape. We are told that on about August 18 earlier this year, Sheetsman, he committed a serious assault against a female in the Old Harbour area. As a result, persons in the area informed upon him, and on August 20, Sheetsman, he was picked up by the police during an operation in the Old Harbour area. His two cronies who were involved in the killing of Jamelia, they were also picked up and they were all slapped with 8 criminal charges. 1. Being a part of a criminal organization. 2. Conspiracy to commit burglary. 3. Aid and abet burglary. 4. Burglary with intent. 5. Murder. 6. Wounding with intent. 7. Causing grievous bodily harm to commit murder. And 8. Rape. So, Sheetsman, he was being held at the Barnett Street police station and he decided that Christmas now catch him in a jail. So he escaped last week, Saturday morning. And I have no doubt that Sheetsman, he was the one who orchestrated this breakout. Well, if it's one thing I know since I have been reporting on this channel, you see the Trelawney police, under the leadership of Superintendent Winston Milton, no ramp with them. When work fi do, it a go do. On Thursday afternoon, a team of police officers from Trelawney, they received intelligence that the Jankro, he was hiding out in a thick forested area at Freeman's Hall in the parish of Trelawney. The police, they journeyed in the bushes on foot where they confronted the Jankro who already decided that him not spend Christmas in a jail, and in a few seconds it was all over. Sheetsman, he was wrapped in a sheet and taken to the morgue. Good riddance to bad rubbish. Trelawney police, I am told that the citizens of the area, they are now breathing a sigh of relief. Job well done. The mayhem. So let me ask you something. Let me ask you something. Have you hit on the love button as yet? If you have not yet done so, remember to hit on it. Also, if you are over here watching our videos and you have not yet subscribed, hit on the subscribe button as also. Hit on the notification bell, then click all, so that whenever we drop a new video, you'll be one of the first to be notified. Now, these two reports that I'm going to be giving you, they are both connected. You remember I told you about the shooting of Cash Money at Cornwall Courts on Thursday? You remember I told you that trouble dede? You remember I told you that 3 guys were held by the police and they are suspected of being involved in the shooting of Cash Money? One is called Rasta. One is called Taros or Dino. And the other one, he's called Tip God. Now, let me drag your memory a little bit. You remember that Linval Thompson, also known as Shabdon, and Tajay Clark, also known as Fathead, they are now in jail on a triple murder charge. That incident was committed on Sunday night, May 25, 2022 at Rosites in St. James. The 3 persons who were killed in that incident were Chadwell, Fraiser, also known as Bambrain, Chamario, Calvin, also known as CHIPPY, and Tonian Reid, also known as Two Fly. Persons were also shot and injured in that incident. One such person who was shot and injured was Tip God. Are you following me? Yes, man, the same Tip God who is now in custody for shooting at Cash Money. So, you see why I'm telling you, say, trouble did it? Before I tell you how this war affected 41Busshead, early this morning there was a shooting at 41 Rosites. It took place about minutes after 1 o'clock. Our information is that a 53-year-old man known as Chris, he operates a small shop at his home. Word on the street is that on Thursday, shortly after Cash Money was shot and was in hospital, Chris, he was one of the men on the hospital compound uttering certain words. As a result, it was concluded that Chris, he was on one side of the conflict. Early this morning, Chris, he was at home when he heard knocking on his house window. A guy who he knew very well was outside knocking and ordering cigarettes. As Chris was about to serve that guy, he noticed that he was signaling to another guy who was hiding in the yard. The guy got up and he fired several shots through the window of the house at Chris. The guy who fired the shots, he then made good his escape. Chris, he was not hit, but it is known in the area who it was that tried to set up Chris. You remember me tell you, say, trouble did eh? That guy on your screen. His name is Marvin Samuels, but he's well known on TikTok as 41Busshead. Today, Saturday, December 21, he will be celebrating his 24th birthday, and he lived at Sean Crescent in the Roseites area of Montego Bay in the parish of St. James. Now, let me say this. Let me tell you this. I have not received any information that 41Busshead was involved in the conflict that is going on. What is true is that he is the cousin of Raymond. Raymond is said to be a top-tier member of one of the factions. Also, you remember a video when Hoodlums, they went for Raymond and they fired a barrage of gunshots at him, but Raymond, he escaped without being hit? At the house where that shooting incident took place is where Busshead was also living. So it is fair to say that Busshead's killing is a case of can't catch Kwaku. Last night, Friday, December 20, 41Busshead, he was at North Lane in Montego Bay. By the way, in mid-July earlier this year, 41Busshead, he was at that same location when he was arrested and charged by the police for disorderly conduct and smoking in a public place. Last night, Busshead, he went on TikTok at the same location showing a lot of cash and having his pre-birthday celebration. About 10 o'clock, he was standing along the roadway when a hoodlum stepped up with a gun in his hand. The hoodlum, he opened gunfire at Busshead, pumping about 10 bullets in his head. Busshead, he fell to the ground, and the hoodlum, he ran away, making good his escape. And while I was recording this video, I received information that there was another killing at 41 Roseites in Montego Bay, but I'm gonna be giving you the details in a subsequent video. The mayhem continues. Blessed love, everybody.
Tell a friend for tell a friend for tell a friend about Popeye Newslink and PNL Blog TV. Like, subscribe and share. Quicksilver sing, if we just unite, what a country this will be. If we just unite, Jamaica live in unity. If we just unite, what a country this will be. Just unite, Jamaica live in unity. Hey, crime it a mash up Jamaica. Criminals them a mash up Jamaica. Jamaicans mash up Jamaica. Oh Jamaica, me sweet Jamaica. Crime it a mash up Jamaica. Criminals them a mash up Jamaica. Jamaicans mash up Jamaica. Oh Jamaica, me sweet Jamaica. I coulda sunshine or rain. Jamaica, no problem, no pain. Rude boy them no out can't take, but me want me country back. Give me country back. To the street and the lane, everybody them start complain. Bloodshed, what a shame, but me want me country back. Give me country back. Crime it a mash up Jamaica. Criminals them a mash up Jamaica. Jamaicans mash up Jamaica. Oh Jamaica, me sweet Jamaica. Crime it a mash up Jamaica. Criminals them a mash up Jamaica. Jamaicans mash up Jamaica. Oh Jamaica, me sweet Jamaica. Jamaica, the land of the sun. Jamaica become now the land of